All right. Good morning, Justin. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. So I've got your resume here in front of me. You've applied to a legal billing position of ours, and you have been working in the medical billing sectors from 2017 to 2022, working for the same company, Sunshine Billing. So I'm going to let you take the stage. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you've been doing most recently in your career to get started.
Okay, yes. My name is Justin. I'm 23 years old, and I have 5 years of experience in medical billing and coding. In my company, I was working as a biller at first, looking at medical records and making sure that the CPT codes were billed correctly and accurately through the medical records for insurance and reimbursement for the specialist in urology. And then I also started to do coding as far as apprenticeship with a coder on site. And we were able to look at codes that were accepted through the diagnosis code to make sure that they're billed effectively to the insurance so that the code could be active. And usually that would come from codes that were bundled with other codes or codes that may need further review through the medical records. So we would be able to do that, look into the records to make sure we have a CPT code that's valid for the insurance to reimburse.
Fantastic. Now, let's talk about how your metrics are measured in your current role. So, when you're sitting down with your supervisor for, say, like a one on one, what type of metrics are they going over to make sure that you're on track and handling as much billing as the company sees deemed acceptable for your department?
Oh, okay, yes. So there was like two report metrics that I would go by. The first metric would be to make sure that I answered the calls that were coming from the patients, in a timely manner, and also to make sure that for the second metric that I'm hitting goals as far as reports and quotas that I had to meet throughout the week to make sure that the reports that I was auditing and also the reports that needed coder review that I was able to get those out in a timely manner as well before the week ended to make sure I was ahead in that aspect. Mhm.
Okay, so fantastic. So, speed, completion of work. What about accuracy?
Oh, accuracy, yes. So making sure that my accuracy was at least a 90% and above. And I always make sure I met that because I make sure that before I do any type of code, that I make sure that I check my work, make sure that it's in line with the medical records and for the insurance guidelines, and to make sure it's sent out in an accurate and timely way.
Fantastic. Now, let's talk about volume of work. What does your typical volume look like in your current role?
Volume wise, as far as calls that come in, the volume is not as high. Usually I'm completing reports, and also assisting with other billers that may need medical records to be sent to them for a code,
Okay.
or also getting in touch with the clients and making sure that we have our reports sent to them as well, just in case they need to review a code that they may need to also change as well through the records.
Okay, fantastic. Now, let's say you had a situation where maybe you noticed that there were some errors on some of the work that you've done. How do you handle a situation like that?
Okay, so yeah, if I audit and I see errors, usually I'll go in there and correct them. And also, if it's an error that I know a biller, that I can give some information to the biller next time to not make the error again, I usually send them a Teams message, let them know like, hey, there is a little error in the code that you did bill, and it looks like it could have been because of like maybe some information that was missing in the medical records. And I'll usually let them know that I went and reviewed it and to make sure that the code was built accurately through the actual diagnosis and the doctor's notes.
Fantastic. I love that. So obviously you're working with, very closely with your teammates. How large is
Right.
the team that you're currently working on?
Oh, I'm sorry. What was the question again?
How large is the team that you're currently working on?
Our team was not really large. It was a smaller team. It was a smaller office, so we didn't really have a lot of members that were in the actual company. But it was like maybe about 20 or 30 people.
20 or 30. Okay, fantastic.
Mhm.
All right. I like it. All right. Now, what is the most important thing to you about the next company that you work for?
The most important things that I look for in a company is a company that has advancement, a company that I can be able to utilize my skills to correlate with what the company standards are, and to make sure that I'm able to understand the training process. As far as the training process being thorough and hands-on would be very excellent for me as well, to be able to learn the systems that's being used and the workflow that needs to be carried out.
All right, fantastic. And Justin, how much do you need to make in order to consider a position?
So I'm open for discussion. I'm not sure what the pay. You said the pay range between 55 and 75 a year.
Based on experience and
That's
legal billing being part of that experience. So you've got
okay.
more of the experience on the medical side. So
Right.
what do you need to make in order to consider an opportunity?
I'm open between 55 and 75 that's being carried out.
All right,
You know.
fantastic. All right, Justin. Well, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. I am going to submit this over to my client today, and then we will be
Okay.
in touch with you early next week.
Great. Thank you so much.
All right, fantastic. You have a great weekend.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.